हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू द लाइव स्ट्रीम जहाँ पे हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं द रोमांटिक्स, जो कि डॉक्यू सीरीज है नेटफ्लिक्स की. इट इज़ अबाउट द लाइक द रोमांस इन बॉलीवुड, ऐसे बोलना चाहूँगा. सो जस्ट टू इंट्रोड्यूस द गेस्ट, I would like first start with introducing the guest, सुहानी. बॉलीवुड का नाम लिया तो सुहानी को मतलब होना चाहिए ही, ऐसा मैं समझता हूँ. सो एवरी टाइम कुछ भी होता है बॉलीवुड के लिए, सुहानी आती है. शी इज़ अ बॉलीवुड लवर. सो या, वेलकम सुहानी टू माय पॉडकास्ट. The next one is Biswadeep, which is his second appearance in my podcast. पहले कई बार मोनिका ओ माय डार्लिंग के वक्त आया था. So this is the second time. Like वो भी बोलते ना कि सुहानी और विश्वदीप के बीच में एक बॉन्ड है जो कि SRK वाला बॉन्ड है. So SRK is romance. So इसके लिए दोनों को यहाँ पे लाना.
Virtual hi-fi.
ओ वाह, ओ टैटू भी है. वाओ, ओ वाह, सही है, बढ़िया बढ़िया.
This can't get better, having Biswa and me for the episode of the Romantics, and we fell in love with Shah Rukh Khan, I think, because of all the romance he brought in our lives in the 90s. So, yeah, I'm happy to have Biswa today.
बढ़िया बढ़िया बढ़िया, सही है सही है. चलो, लेट्स देन राइट गेट राइट इनटू इट. फर्स्ट स्टार्ट ऑफ, कभी देखा कैसा लगा. ऑब्वियसली द फर्स्ट ऑब्वियस क्वेश्चंस. लेट्स स्टार्ट विद सुहानी. Well,
Okay, so I was really intrigued by the trailer, and I would just like to, before beginning, I like to, correct what you said, that it's not about the romance in Bollywood. It is about how Yash Chopra, after really getting disappointed in the 80s with the kind of cinema which was thriving in the 80s, the action and, uh, little obscene and little remakes, and how he adopted the path of romance and really redefined romance in Hindi cinema, not Bollywood. You can't say Bollywood, Sanket, because Mr. Bachchan is really averse to the term, and there is one whole section about in the fourth episode where she asked that how do you feel about Bollywood, and most of them say that they don't like the term. So for me, I really it was kind of a bittersweet series for me because I absolutely loved the first two episodes. I have been a Yash Chopra fan, and last year I revisited all of his films, right from Dhool Ka Phool to Dharamputra, Admi Aur Insan, Waqt I had watched earlier with my family, Diwar, Trishul, Kala Patthar, everything, the way he, really redefined, or the kind of what should I say, clutter breaking or path breaking films he gave to Hindi cinema in the 70s and 60s. I watched all of them, and I absolutely fell in love with his vision and just the kind of love he had in his life, and the when you watch his films and his characters, you see there is a bit of Yash Chopra in all of his heroes and characters. So I loved the two episodes where they went back into the journey, that how he came, a Jalandhar boy came to the film industry, and how he started working under the umbrella of his brother, the great B.R. Chopra, and how he always had this fire in his heart and hunger to to give something different to this medium, to this art. And we may take it in a very frivolous way, that it's just Naj Gana and beautiful locales and everything, but there is so much heart and emotion to it. And if you look to his previous films, there is great philosophy and vision to it, and the way he packaged everything with a very aesthetically marvelous elements. So the first two episodes I loved. The last two episodes were little kind of a, you can see through that where they are glorifying it unnecessarily, where it is a little PR machinery, and where it's more of a facade than a celebration of Hindi cinema. So that's my take to begin with, and we can clearly dissect each episode later. I would like to hear from Biswa.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also, Kayo is here to join us. We want Joey here. So yeah.
How you doing?
Okay,
बढ़िया, बढ़िया, बढ़िया.
I think to
Okay,
answer,
so yeah,
you can hear me, right? Okay.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I think in a nutshell, if I really have to summarize what the Romantics was, I think I'll speak from a very layman point of view. Like Suhani said, I have this. I'm a big fan of Yash Raj, right? I'm not necessarily the production house, but more so of the visionary man that Yash Chopra is. And in a way, we have grown on his movies, right? I mean, I'm a '90s kid, so a big that was a point of time when I used to watch a lot of movies growing up. I remember, I don't even remember half of the names of those movies that I've seen, right? Featuring all the veterans that we can speak of today. So, and most of them were Yes Chopra movies. I mean, this is what I realized in, on watching the first episode. So, I think if I really have to summarize what I felt after watching The Romantics, it was, I mean, this is something that that came straight from the heart. I somehow derived a lot of respect for the late Yash Chopra. That is how I kind of, and this is precisely what I messaged on our film group as well. After watching the series, it was not about anything else. It was not about the surprise element in Aditya Chopra coming to the front and speaking for an entire couple of episodes. It wasn't about the making of Shah Rukh Khan the star, or it wasn't about the making of Amitabh Bachchan the angry young man. It was, for me, it was pretty much about Yash Chopra, his
Yeah,
vision, his struggle, his start, and how he, like Suhani mentioned, how he grew under his brother's umbrella and took over and branched out and just became the marvelous filmmaker that he is remembered for today. So in a way, I think the first two episodes, like Suhani mentioned, I totally relate with her. They were extremely good. They could show the transition. They used landmark histories in, say, 1947 car, 1975 car, and even the liberalization, right,
yeah,
1990s, how this affected the movements and how these movements affected the flow of Indian cinema, and how Yash Chopra held on to his own, right?
yeah,
I think वो जो transition था, it really came. I mean, it came. Uh, काफी glaring था मेरे लिए. It was pretty nice, and then eventually watching Aditya Chopra speak and to understand that this guy's clarity of thoughts and what all he has in mind, and so open. I mean, we have known him to be a very shy introvert, but watching him in the second episode speaking his heart out and discussing things was a pretty good experience. So the first two episodes are good. Third and fourth में मैं बाद में आऊंगा. I'll come to it.
अच्छा, नहीं, एक्चुअली इस सीरीज की खबर मुझे तो नहीं थी जरा भी. और लाइक इसका ट्रेलर मैंने जस्ट ऐसा देखा था. और बस ऐसे ही देख लिया क्योंकि जस्ट कुछ करना नहीं था. ओके, चलो देख लिया. और एट दी एंड जब जाके पता चला कि आदित्य चोपड़ा आ रहा है, और उन्होंने एक सही वक्त पे उन्होंने वो पार्ट रखा कि आदित्य चोपड़ा, लाइक अगर आपको बोलो कि हमने आदित्य चोपड़ा का भी इंटरव्यू लिया है, सो लाइक मैं खुद हैरान था यार कि ये बंदा जिसका गूगल पे सिर्फ एक फोटो है, वो उसका कैसे आ सकता है, वो कैसे आ सकता है यार.
And then they show an empty chair, by the way, and stating that
हाँ.
that was kind of cool.
तो मतलब यार कैसे हो सकता है यार ऐसे. और फिर जाके मैं देखता हूँ कि यार ये दिस गाय इज लाइक अ टेरेंस मैलिक ऑफ बॉलीवुड. क्योंकि टेरेंस मैलिक कोई भी इंटरव्यूज में जैसा आते नहीं है, और ये बंदा आता है लाइक ओ वाओ, ओके, कुछ इंसाइट्स मिल रहे हैं, समथिंग अबाउट कैसे यशराज के जो लाइक टॉप मैन है, टॉप गाय है, उससे ये सब बातें पता चल रही है. तो मतलब क्या ही बोल सकते हैं वैसे. तो सब कुछ चीज़ें पता चल रही थी. तो ये लाइक इसका फर्स्ट एपिसोड मैंने जब देखा, ओके, ये सब मुझे सच बोलूं कि ये सब फिल्म्स के बारे में कुछ पता नहीं था कि क्या हो रहा है, सिलसिला ये वो. फर्स्ट फिल्म, सेकंड फिल्म मुझे नहीं पता था यार, ऐसा था. हाँ, इस डॉक्यूमेंट्री के देखने के बाद मुझे थोड़ा लाइक पता लगने लगा कि ओके, उसकी यश चोपड़ा की फर्स्ट और सेकंड फिल्म कुछ तो इट वाज समथिंग टू रिलेट विद द इंडिपेंडेंस और वो सब के टाइम्स के हिसाब से कुछ तो थी. काफ़ी वो टाइम की रेलेवेंट फ़िल्म थी जो मुझे नहीं पता थी, जो आई थिंक मुझे देखनी चाहिए अभी। फिर जाके मैंने पूरा सीरीज़ लाइक देखा, जैसे यश चोपड़ा का सभी का इंटरव्यू मैंने देखा। आई वाज़ इवन लाइक शॉक्ड बाय द आर्काइव इंटरव्यू ऑफ यश चोपड़ा एज़ वेल कि यार मतलब उन लोग ने कैसे अ, तरीके के क्लिप्स लिए और यहाँ पे डाले हैं, और क्या क्या लाजवाब लाइक उसमें था। एक चीज़ मैं मेंशन करना चाहूँगा कि मैंने ये डिस्कशन पे दर्शील करके एक हमारा दोस्त है, उसको इनवाइट किया था। उसने इन लाइक शेड्यूलिंग की वज़ह से इनकार कर दिया था। सो लेकिन उसने उसकी और मेरी इतनी अच्छी बातें हुई थी, लाइक उसने बोला था कि तू देख रहा है तो एज़ अ जस्ट अनदर बॉलीवुड व्यूअर जैसे देख रहा है, और अगर तू मे बी ऐसे ही बोल रहा होगा कि इन लोग ने क्या किया, तू ऐसे ही सोचा कि कुछ नहीं किया। लेकिन तू देख कि लाइक जब ये सिलसिला आया या ये आया सिलसिला नहीं, सॉरी, कभी-कभी आया, तो ऐसा कॉन्सेप्ट काफ़ी नया था बॉलीवुड के लिए भी, कि ऐसा कुछ लाइक आफ्टर लव, ऐसा कुछ लाइक मैरिज आफ्टर लव समथिंग, ऐसा कुछ दिखाना, वो बॉलीवुड के लिए ही भी काफ़ी नया था। और जब जाके लाइक उसने वही बोलने की कोशिश की थी कि जब-जब कुछ उन लोग सब कुछ लाइक ऐसा ट्रेंडी जैसा मेनस्ट्रीम जैसा हो रहा था बहुत कुछ चीज़ें इन बॉलीवुड, यशराज फ़िल्म्स आए और उसने सब बैरियर्स ब्रेक कर दिया। कोई धूम जैसा कुछ नहीं बनाना था, तो उन्होंने जस्ट बोल दिया कि अभी हम लोग एक्टर्स पे ज़्यादा पैसे खर्च नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन बाइक्स पे ज़्यादा पैसे खर्च करेंगे, और फिर जाके उन लोग ने धूम फ्रैंचाइज़ी बना दी। तो वो यशराज एक ऐसी मतलब बोलेंगे कि प्रोडक्शन हाउस है और एक एज़ अ स्टूडियो है कि अ, उन लोग ने पाथ ब्रेकिंग फ़िल्म्स बनाई है पूरे उन लोग के स्पैन में। तो
In the constrainट्स of mainstream cinema.
हुँ,
Hmm.
एब्सोल्युटली,
Hmm.
एब्सोल्युटली। और कयो भी बहुत ऐसे कमेंट्स आ
Okay,
रहे
okay,
हैं
get it, guys.
विश्वजीत।
Kayo, Darshan, you love us. You love our shirt. You love my sweater. We get it. Thank you. We love you too.
आप एक बार नाम ले लीजिए, कयो करके कोई तो है एक बिस्वा जी।
अरे यार फैंस स्टूपिड था। अरे भाई
शाहरुख खान के एक्सेंट में कह देते, ओके कोई बात नहीं।
उसको भेजूंगा वॉइस नोट अभी।
सो एक्चुअली आप लोगों से एक्चुअली मैं पूछना चाहूँगा जस्ट टू लाइक लाइक टेक दिस कन्वर्सेशन फॉरवर्ड, कि आप लोग बहुत बड़े बॉलीवुड फैंस हो जैसे, और ये डॉक्यूमेंट्री स्पेशली देखने जाए तो यशराज फिल्म्स और यश चोपड़ा की लाइक डेडिकेटेड है। सो आप लोग से पूछना चाहूँगा जस्ट टू लाइक स्टार्ट विद बिस्वा, तो आपकी कौन-सी फ़ेवरेट यश चोपड़ा फ़िल्म है? टू जस्ट टू बिगिन विद मतलब क्यों वो है?
आई थिंक मेरी फेवरेट यश चोपड़ा मूवी would be दीवार यार। I'll be honest. मैं थोड़ा old school हूँ। I mean, I'm although I was born in 89, I remember watching दीवार somewhere around 92, 93 उस टाइम पे देखा होगा मैंने। And I think that the reason I would pick दीवार is uh, क्योंकि अगर एक मूवी मुझे अच्छी लगी है ना, the way I understand okay this is a good movie or this is a movie I really enjoyed is because in a way उस मूवी के जो मोमेंट्स है ना they stay with me, right? And Diwar had some iconic lines. I mean, this it goes without saying, right? I mean, the iconic lines that they have, the interaction, the clash between the two brothers. मेरे पास माँ है. I mean, we have heard it for forever, right? And then I mean, all those scenes that involve the growing up of Amitabh Bachchan's character in the movie and how he turns out to be what he turns out to be, and then eventually the ending, the climax. I mean, I think in a way mainstream cinema ka heights tha दीवार मेरे लिए. And I believe quite early in my life I came across a movie which kind of defined commercial cinema for me, and the fact that it was a Yash Chopra movie is just icing on the cake. I mean, only he could have done what he did with this movie. It's an iconic movie for me.
अच्छा, सुहानी आपके लिए सेम क्वेश्चन?
So I would like to stay and talk more about Yash Chopra because I think he deserves to be. We talked more, and especially for all our audiences who are watching. So that's why I wanted the series to be longer, and I wanted probably 4 more episodes about only about Yash Chopra for the kind of films he has made and the kind of stories he has given us. So आप कह रहे थे संकेत की independence and the whole aftermath of independence is, you can see a lot of that in his stories. So it's more about the partition, the aftermath of partition, and how it affected the conscience of the people who immigrated from Pakistan to India, and what all they went through. So if you see, and the kind of religious fundamentalism which was thriving in that period of the independence, the fight between Hindu and Muslim fundamentalists. So अगर आप उनके शुरू की 3 फिल्में देखें तो it's all about that. धूल का फूल is about love child before marriage, and how his parents abandoned him, and he's brought up by an old man who refuses to give him a religious identity. And there is a famous song ki tu Hindu banega na Musalman banega, इंसान की औलाद है इंसान बनेगा. And then there is Dharamputra, in which Shashi Kapoor plays a fundamentalist, an extremist Hindu who has this sheer bigotry and hatred against the opposite faith, and he doesn't know that he is a Muslim. He was born in a Muslim family and adopted in a Hindu. So the kind of topics he was choosing, if you see, Waqt is all about. It is about people, a family getting separated due to a natural calamity, which is earthquake. But in a way, you say it is a family getting separated because of the partition, and और उनकी कोई भी फिल्म आप देखो तो अगर there was no lack of beauty, अगर वो कितना भी sincere या strong subject उठाते थे, aesthetic would have been so beautiful, बड़ी हवेलियां and beautiful locales, and पहले कश्मीर होता था, बाद में स्विट्जरलैंड था, and then there was no lack in the glamour. अगर आप उनकी हीरोइनों को देखिए, all so beautifully dressed, strong, confident, modern women. None of them they were like a perfect mix of modernism and holding little tradition in the corner of their pallu, I'll say, or in the corner of their gown. So it's so difficult to choose a favorite Yash Chopra film, and I won't go for one. I can't go for one. So from the 70s and 80s, I'll pick Trishul, because Trishul has been a favorite Hindi family film for us. Just the dynamic between Sanjeev Kumar and Amitabh Bachchan, the way he says कि आप मेरे नाजायज बाप हैं. He never says कि मैं आपका नाजायज बेटा हूँ. He says आप मेरे नाजायज बाप हैं. The simple emotion, summarizes the whole character of, and the anger which he has against the society, the family, Amitabh Bachchan, and it is the vision of Yash Chopra and the writers Salim Javed. And Kabhi Kabhi is my favorite love story, because it explores the area of love after marriage. And again, Shashi Kapoor is one of my favorite husbands on screen. He is so good, and the way he has written the character of Vijay Khanna in Kabhi Kabhi, as Rakhi says कि कभी कभी समझ में नहीं आता कि आप इंसान के रूप में देवता हैं या देवता के रूप में इंसान हैं. And the same line was again repeated in Veer Zara when Rani Mukherjee says कि समझ में नहीं आता कि आप इंसान के रूप में फरिश्ता हैं to Zara, और या फरिश्ते के रूप में इंसान है. So my three favorite films will be Trishul, Kabhi Kabhi, and Veer Zara. Epic family dramas and love story.
आशी का एक कमेंट है.
We were allowed to choose more than one. क्या यार संकेत बोला नहीं?
नहीं actually like they are allowed, but like एक रखते तो मतलब अच्छा लगता ना, right? इसलिए agreed.
We spoke about movies that Sanket has not seen.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I'll talk about it later after the video ends. But I hope one good thing which has happened after the Romantics is that the kind of nostalgia it has brought back, and the celebration of Hindi cinema. तो बहुत से जो आज के generation के लोग हैं, they are going back and visiting and watching all the movies. So I hope Sanket, आप जाके यश चोपड़ा की before 90s सारी फिल्में देखिए, and I'm sure you will. There's no question that you won't love the filmmaking of his.
Okay. Like Ashik, a question he needs some more insight on his last movie जब तक है जान. Okay, मैंने यश चोपड़ा की सिर्फ कोई कोई फिल्म देखी है, जब तक है जान ही उसमें से एक है. ओके, लाइक जब तक है जान पता नहीं क्यों, लेकिन 10 साल पहले देखी थी मैंने फिल्म, मुझे तो बहुत ही अच्छी लगी थी यार. मतलब तभी देखी थी, जस्ट कुछ समथिंग एल्स. तभी कुछ सिनेफाइल जैसा नहीं था, लेकिन हाँ देखा था तब अच्छा लगा था. इश्क शावा गाना अब आज भी मैं सुनता हूँ, और चला की रफ्ता फिरे तो मूवी के रिलीज होने से पहले भी सुनते आ रहा हूँ. तो मुझे वो पता नहीं था कि यश चोपड़ा की क्या रोमांस वगैरह है, और जस्ट लॉस्ट लव एंड वो सब सारे टॉपिक्स जो पहले भी हो चुके थे यश चोपड़ा के फिल्म्स में, मुझे भी नहीं पता था, लेकिन इस फिल्म में भी एक्सप्लोर किए गए थे. I quite like that. वैसे so I don't mind, like लोग थोड़े क्रिटिसिज्म करते हैं, लेकिन मुझे नहीं पता चला, since I don't know कि उस like यश चोपड़ा की पहले फिल्म्स भी कैसे थे. So I wanted to you guys to answer this question कि like about जब तक है
Biswa,
जान.
you want to talk about Jab Tak Hai Jaan? You talk, then I'll come.
I think Jab Tak Hai Jaan was more of a miss than a hit, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Jab Tak Hai Jaan was something that it's sad that this happens to be the last movie of the Maverick movie maker. I mean, I think uh, जब movie release हुई थी, it's they've already shown it in the interview also in a segment in the docu series that he had already claimed to Shah Rukh that that he's not going to direct anymore, right? And it was a very sad moment, and I think somewhere that nostalgia led people to the theaters because they knew that okay, this is going to be Yash Chopra's last directorial movie, and it has Shah Rukh Khan, their favorite star, in it, and then a couple of actresses who were pretty famous at that point of time, and they were starting their careers in a way. So the music was hit. The music was a hit, and somehow things that didn't work for me was the storyline, the timelines, or probably the way things moved forward, something that I couldn't relate to, and the central conflict was very childish for me, right? Where Kasam Khai and all those. So and then eventually he moves on and becomes an army man, a bomb diffuser squad. Mein, he's the you know. I think in a way I couldn't. I didn't like Jab Tak Hai Jaan a lot. I would really say that. I would honestly say that. But uh, अगर मैं अभी देखूं, if I really look back at whatever Yash Chopra has done in his movies and the way he ended it with Jab Tak Hai Jaan, I'm not disappointed. I don't think I'll say that I'm disappointed. It carried a lot of his willingness to try different things on screen, and at the same time be true to his own legacy that he has. So in a way, Yash Chopra did justice to whatever he could. But for me, Jab Tak Hai Jaan will always be more of a miss than a hit. Over to you, Sonia.
So, Ashi, Jab Tak Hai Jaan would be my least favorite Yash Chopra film, and one of the least favorite SRK films, because Jab Tak Hai Jaan is to Yash Chopra what Befikre is to Aditya Chopra. So Yash Chopra has always been a filmmaker who had a great tap on the nerves of the young people, of the youth. He made Dil To Pagal Hai in his 60s or 70s, and it might look very frivolous, but the kind of packaging he did, he brought a Broadway kind of setup, and then he talked about soulmates, he talked about music and dance, and just look at the costumes of Nisha and Pooja in Dil To Pagal Hai, and the kind of music, the kind of dance till then. And again, speaking about young passionate love, he was very on the point till Dil To Pagal Hai. After that, I think he lost that tap on the nerves, on the एक बोलते हैं ना कि युवा दिलों की जो नब्ज होती है वो पढ़ने से चूक गए. And no, ये जब तक है जहाँ was, he tried to understand the love from angle of young people of those times, but it was a clear miss. So I'm not a fan of Jab Tak Hai Jaan. I am disappointed that his career ended with that. But what really touched me and it really got me emotional, I could I could see myself shedding a tear or two. The interview which Shah Rukh had with Yash
Yeah.
Chopra for his last film, and the way he said कि अब मैं नहीं बनाऊंगा film, and you can see Shah Rukh is trying to hold
Convince.
his tears. You know, the thing he does with his mouth, he'll do something like this to just, hold the tears coming out of his eyes. And so for I'm eternally grateful for that interview between Shah Rukh Khan and Yash Chopra for Jab Tak Hai Ja, but film I'm not a fan of.
एक्चुअली आशी का मतलब ये था कि उन्होंने यहाँ पे कमेंट्स में लिखा वी नीड टू हैव सम मोर इनसाइट ऑन द शो, लाइक ग्लैड टू हैव ऑल ऑफ योर इनसाइट्स. मेरा भी एक्चुअली हाँ ओके. लास्ट फिल्म था थोड़ा कम था एक्चुअली. मुझे ऐसा लगा कि शाहरुख खान की फिल्म थी वो चक दे इंडिया पे थोड़ा कम इनसाइट्स लगा यार. मुझे लगा थोड़ा ज्यादा
Yeah, I can
रहता
see.
तो.
So I think the 4 episode is too less to talk about Yash Raj films. The first 2 episodes were beautiful because they spoke about how Yash Chopra brought in how he created Yash Raj Studios in a small building, and his first film was Dag, and just the kind of films he made after that. And it's mostly about ki how failure of Vijay and Fasle and those films really broke his heart, the way distributors and media and the audiences received his film. And then he went back to romance with Chandni, and he redefined Hindi cinema romance with Chandni. After that, you see Lamhe, Dil To Pagal Hai, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, Dar, Mohabbatein Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi. So I think first 2 episodes were perfect, Ashi. Last 2 episodes, we definitely, we needed to more insights on other films too. I agree.
I
हाँ
think
नहीं, even Santosh agrees. He wanted more insights on बेफिक्रे.
How come everyone is attending our YouTube today? I'm wondering.
अच्छा है यार. मतलब इन लोग सब अपने व्यूज जानना चाहते हैं. बहुत अच्छी बात है. कयो ने भी लिखा है चक दे इंडिया इतनी ज्यादा शूट कर दी थी कि शिमित ने भड़क गया था आदि. ओ ओके.
I
ये
think
नहीं पता था.
the latter part of the series, what I didn't like was, they did not, the lack of discussion about the failures of Yash Raj films, right?
Yeah.
The movie didn't work. I think बेफिक्रे के बारे में, hi Sandy, बेफिक्रे के बारे में बहुत discussion हुआ था. Adi did speak about it in the interview in one of the episodes. But then again, barring that, I don't think उन लोगों ने ज्यादा उनके failures पे focus किया है. And what this series has been shot over 3 years, right? That's what I'm told. 3 or 4 years maybe.
आई
So
थिंक क्योंकि ऋषि कपूर का भी इंटरव्यू था तो इसलिए लाइक आई वाज
Yeah.
लाइक आई वंडरिंग दैट
And
कि
I was
2020 के पहले वो सब शूट
और
एक्चुअली किया
2.5
हो.
साल इनको सिर्फ एडिटिंग में लगा. आई वाज वाचिंग एन इंटरव्यू ऑफ स्मृति मुंद्रा.
Mundra, she's the director.
सिर्फ 2.5 साल सिर्फ सब फुटेज को इकट्ठा करके एडिट करने में लगा है उनको. सो तो
I
आई
mean,
डोंट नो कब से शॉट हो रहा है.
they had 40 actors, I mean, coming up to discuss about Yash Chopra. So I think that was a big
Yeah,
tribute,
35, 40. Yeah.
close to 40 actors, right? I mean, that was a big tribute. They had,
But I also felt, Biswa, did you feel that they are like making it a lot about the failures? इतना failure हुआ नहीं है. Yash Raj was always a remarkable big studio in spite of all the failures. So when they were talking about ki, everything went downhill and all, I was not convinced because even with the failures of Shamshera and Jayesh Bhai Jordar and everything, whatever happened in between, Yash Raj will remain as the big banner. It's difficult to impact its importance and its power. So मुझे लगा कि क्या बात कर रहे हैं, इतना तो कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है. वी आर स्टिल फैंस ऑफ यश राज फिल्म्स और हम तो अभी भी उसकी फिल्में देखने जाएंगे अगर अच्छी फिल्में वो बनाएंगे. तो मुझे वो पार्ट थोड़ा लगा कि व्हाई दे आर मेकिंग इट सो मच अबाउट little flops and little failure. This is what I felt for the 3rd and 4th episode.
I think the reason for this, Suhani, would be, in my opinion, would be they churn out so many movies in a year, right? I mean, Yash Raj is a big production house, and they are kind of, they are as equivalent to Bollywood as it can be. और मेरे हिसाब से अगर इतनी movies produce कर रहे हैं and they make so many movies, if there are a few misses in those, like पृथ्वीराज या फिर बेफिक्रे हो गया या फिर the movie, I mean, there will always be a Pathan which comes up and kind of compensates for the rest.
Yeah.
So in a way, Yash Raj will never be a loss-making entity. That's
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
won't be. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, they are too big a production house to be, wary of anything like that. But then again, I think they could have focused a little bit more on the failures of some of the movies that didn't work and how they got back to the drawing board and tried to, learn. I mean, what were their learnings from these things? I think this is something that could have been touched upon. Again, this is my view.
Yeah.
This is something that I just thought of, so when I share kar diya.
But yeah, go ahead.
So there is one thing I'm glad that Sanket brought it up. I think watching Rishi Kapoor speak and in conversation along with his wife Nitu was a very satisfying experience. Personally, I've been a very big fan of Rishi Kapoor. Right from Amar Akbar, Anthony Days, Bobby, to whatever he has done, and even in movies like Agnipath, where he kind of did something
Yes.
pathbreaking. In a way, I really loved the fact that they could have his interview, and it was lovely listening to Rishi Kapoor. I've always been a big fan.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
ओके, धूम 3 भी थोड़ी इनसाइड और होनी चाहिए थी.
अभी धूम 3 का ही पिक है शायद. अच्छा नहीं सैंडी.
But उसका डायरेक्टर आया था ना.
हाँ.
He got a good footage.
Speaking of directors, Suhani and Sanket, we didn't see Siddharth Anand or Kabir Khan in that, right?
I think because it was made before Pathan and war, and maybe around war. So yeah, they missed many of the directors. They missed Sanjay Gadvi, and they missed Arjun Sablok. They missed many, and they missed many other prominent actors too, like Mumtaz and Wahida Rahman, Sharmila Tagore, Rakhi. They missed many. Aishwarya Rai. Yeah.
बराबर बोल रहे हैं, लगता है कयो जग्गू दादा in Doom 3 was better than Anthony Hopkins in Father.
Let's talk about Doom 3. Why are we not talking about Doom 3?
No, I think Sanket, you want to ask any other thing?
एक्चुअली मैं पूछ रहा था, नहीं एब्सोल्युटली मैं पूछ रहा था कि आप लोग को ऐसा कुछ लगा कि देखो ट्रेलर से ही पता चल गया, और इवन जब भी मैंने ये डॉक्यूमेंट्री देखा भी ऐसा लगा कि यार बहुत इंग्लिश हो रही थी यार, कि दिस इज अ डॉक्यूमेंट्री अबाउट हिंदी सिनेमा, बॉलीवुड अगर बोलते हैं तो क्यों यार इतनी क्यों इंग्लिश
मेड फॉर इंटरनेशनल ऑडियंसेस.
आई नो, बट अगर तुम बॉलीवुड के बारे में, हिंदी सिनेमा के बारे में बात कर रहे हो तो तुम उसी भाषा में बात करो जो हिंदी में बोली जाती है, लाइक बॉलीवुड में बोली जाती है, लाइक बॉलीवुड सिनेमा इज ऑल अबाउट हिंदी, तो उसमें करो, क्यों नहीं? आई थिंक मुझे वो बहुत ऐसा फैक्टर लगा कि यार यही सेम चीज इन लोग सब बॉलीवुड फिल्म्स के बारे में बात करें, यही सेम चीज अगर उन लोग हिंदी में बात करते तो और अच्छी फीलिंग आती कि अपने वही जो एक्टर्स जो हिंदी सिनेमा में काम करते थे और वही भाषा में उन लोग अभी वो इंटरव्यूज दे रहे हैं, काइंड ऑफ वो फील मुझे बहुत अच्छी आती. सो आई डोंट नो, लाइक आप लोग को ऐसा कुछ लगा? मुझे तो बहुत ऐसा कुछ लगा था कि लाइक दे आर नॉट टॉकिंग इन हिंदी.
I'll be honest, अब तक मैंने ध्यान नहीं दिया था, but now that Sanket is saying it, I'll have to revisit and see how much of it was in English. मैंने ज़्यादा ध्यान नहीं दिया because I was in the flow, और मैंने काफी binge पे खत्म किया है, to be honest. I finished this docu-series pretty fast. I mean, compared to, क्योंकि bandwidth issues होते हैं, I don't watch everything all at once. But this is something that I really watched because this is something I can relate to, right? I mean, it's Bollywood. It's Bollywood. It's Yash Chopra. It's my favorite actor Shah Rukh Khan and the rest of the people in it. So I think in a way I could relate a lot to it. मैंने binge watch करके खत्म कर दिया. I just didn't realize that there was a lot of English in it. But I think today's docu-series, the way these are being shot, these are being made, they are trying to cater to a much larger audience with OTTs and all. I mean, the viewership is something that dictates, in terms of the geography also. So I think in a way that is fine, something मेरे हिसाब से. Then again, beach में, they're playing out a scene from a movie and then letting out a song or passing a dialogue or some old interview clip in which they are speaking in Hindi. This kind of, gave it a balance, I would say. And मुझे ज़्यादा, खटकता नहीं है बात. I mean, I am pretty fine with it. How about you, sir?
I have lost all the hope from these people to speak in Hindi. I really, I think it's very naive of us to expect this from them. Half of them don't know how to speak in Hindi, and in spite of that, I think Biswa is right. It was to cater more and more international audiences. I didn't mind Uday Chopra's accent. I have stopped minding all these things. I
नहीं
understood
पर आई
what he's
थिंक
saying there.
वो नहीं, लेकिन वो खुद लाइक यूएस में अभी रहते हैं वैसे, उसके वजह से मे भी शायद से
So
लाइक
I
इतना वो
think,
हेवी एक्सेंट
so,
इसलिए
Sucharita asked this to Smriti Mundra Ashi, and he told, and she told that Uday asked the interviewer, because Smriti Mundra was interviewing, that what accent do you want me to speak to, and his point was that if I'm speaking to a person who's based on LA, so I would probably talk to in that accent, which she would be more comfortable with. So this was Uday's point,
I thought
which
the blooper Suhani. मुझे लगा था शुरू में when Uday, I mean, this is one of the
yeah,
first
yeah,
scenes
yeah, yeah. We see
he
that.
was making fun of it, and then he continued with the accent.
Yeah,
ठीक है, that's.
yeah. He was fun to watch. I didn't mind accent.
But the only thing I didn't like Suhani and Sanket was how they tried to scratch the surface of this the elephant in the room, nepotism. I mean,
Yeah,
was there a necessity to even get that angle, and portraying Uday, the producer of the show, as a failed nepo kid? I mean that was something that I didn't relate to. See, nepotism is an entirely different debate. We can have it any number of times on any day or with any number of people. I mean, there will be different schools of thoughts about it. But if I really have to speak about my view of it, I understand nepotism is something that will exist not only in the Hindi film industry but everywhere else. And in a way, you have to understand that okay, it gives a push, but it can only push you to a certain extent, right? And then how you pick up from there is entirely your call and entirely your talent and everything else that is possible in your hands. So I think मेरे हिसाब से debate थोड़ा बहुत, I mean, this is my personal view. Of course, I'm open to a lot of debates around it, but they shouldn't have touched this subject. I mean, producers भी वही हैं, right? And and Adi Chopra is speaking about how he wanted Uday and Karan to be working on his first movie, DDLJ. I mean, that itself speaks about a lot about nepotism being there. So I think this is something that I really didn't like it. They could have avoided it, but then again, I mean, there's something probably they wanted to spend some
आई
time on.
थिंक ये
so
इसमें यहाँ
I
पे
don't.
ऑपोजिट व्यूज भी एक्चुअली आ रहे, सॉरी सुहानी, लाइक एक यही सेम
Yeah,
टॉपिक पे एक
Monica is a
ऑपोजिट व्यू,
friend. Hi, Monica.
ये सो लाइक उनका एक ऑपोजिट व्यू, लाइक आई रियली अप्रिशिएट दैट द डॉक्यूमेंट्री आल्सो टॉक्ड अबाउट नेपोटिज्म टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ हाईलाइटिंग ऑडियंसेस डिसअप्रूवल ऑफ उदय एक्चुअली, और ये चीज खुद आदित्य चोपड़ा मानते थे यार कि वी कुडंट मेक हिम अ actor, we couldn't make him a star, like वैसे, so okay, बहुत अच्छा टच
So,
किया था.
I don't know if you guys have watched the series by Smriti Mundra, which is called Indian Matchmaking. So, Indian matchmaking का भी grammar है, they'll talk about some very serious issue and they'll throw it on your face and suddenly make something very light, what should I say, very बहुत ही हल्का उसका एक discussion कर देंगे. तो I really love the way episode 3 starts and everyone speaks ki my father was into films and my Masi and my Bua and my Chacha and my Taya and everyone, we get to see everyone. I was shocked to see that even Suhani Sharma, who is a casting director and who really got famous in recent years, is associated to Yash Chopra, to I probably to 1 or 2 generation ago. So I was watching it with a smirk on my face, and then Aditya Chopra comes and he gives a very defensive take on nepotism. It's hard to digest. Whatever he said is right, but we all know that not the only thing how nepotism works. It's about how many chances they keep on getting in spite of inefficiency and lack of talent and everything. But what he said made sense too, and I think it's a very template answer by industry. You ask them and all of them will give the same answer कि ऐसा नहीं होता है, सिर्फ first chance मिलता है, बाद में भी होना चाहिए. तो I am not a fan of his take on nepotism, but we do need to talk about just the kind of visionary Aditya Chopra is and what he created with Yash Raj Studios, and excellent job. He has been so I liked the bits of his childhood ki kaise he has this copy and pen and notes And even you see the first scene of Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, you know, Trafalgar Square पे जो बलदेव चौधरी कबूतरों को दाना खिला रहे, it's all written, hand written, कि exterior and ये है और folk music पीछे चल रहा है, it's all hand written. So I love the passion and love and just the vision Aditya Chopra has. And I really enjoyed when his childhood friends came and spoke about him, like Abhishek Bachchan and Hrithik Roshan and Kajol and all the people who have worked with him, Madhuri and others. And you get to know about him through these people, you know, that how he was always like a tyrant, and he always thought of Uday and Abhishek as these inefficient people who don't know their job and are just, you know, passing their time in the sets. So I'm very glad to see this side of Aditya Chopra. I'm totally sold on this respect that Smriti Mundra could bring him, and we got to see the man behind Yash Raj Studios. What do you guys think?
I think this. Sanket, you go first.
नहीं आप like आप जाओ, मैं actually
So,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's a rhetorical question. I mean, what I would say is there was one particular line which Ali says in the series that अगर इस देश में किसी को superstar बनना है, so that person has to be every mother's son, every sister's brother, and every college-going girl's fantasy, right? And this is what he says to Shah Rukh because he has this vision about Shah Rukh being a romantic star, being a romantic actor. So, and this is what Shah Rukh wasn't convinced. I mean, the whole world knows that he didn't want to do DDLJ. Post there, he always wanted to do an action movie, which we have heard a lot about. So, I think in a way, what I felt was that what Adi said was absolutely right. To be a superstar, I mean, these are the three criteria that you have to meet because the women pull the men to the movies, and if they like someone, the family likes him. So it's as simple as that. Adi had this vision about him. He had this trust that this is going to work. And then I think having that quite so early in his career, and then what he did after Yash Chopra stepped down, I think it's commendable. Aditya Chopra is there's no second thoughts about it. You can talk about anything else, about why he doesn't release his movies on OTTs, about why he couldn't make a star out of Uday Chopra, or why some of his movies don't work, or how they kind of arm twist and anything else. We keep hearing about these. But for me, I think eventually, if I look at it in its entirety, I would say Aditya Chopra is a genius.
He is a genius, right? Maybe genius may miss his shot once or twice, but really loved watching his vision. And what Ashi is saying is very right. That guy started noting all the box office figures at the age of 12. So you see, वो बोलता है ना, पूत के पैर पालने में ही दिखाई देते हैं, एक हिंदी में पूत के पाँव पालने में ही दिखाई देते हैं, एक हिंदी में कहावत है. So it applies to Aditya Chopra. And I also love the bits of generation gap between Yash Chopra and Aditya Chopra. It was so heartwarming to see that how Shah Rukh and Aditya were sort of acting as each other's wingman, or what should I say, teammate, apart from Yash Chopra. So because he was so senior and Shah Rukh was little scared of talking a lot about his character and how he'll perform the role to Yash Chopra, he used to go to Aditya Chopra and they used to have their own calculations कि ये shot करना, वो shot नहीं करना. You tell to him, if I'll tell, he won't listen to me. And throughout the making of DDLJ, the kind of generation clashes they both had, it's heartwarming to watch.
अच्छा.
I think just to reply to Ashi's comment, so Ashi, what Adi Chopra started doing at 12 years old, I think Mohit Maheshwari started doing it 5 years old. So yeah,
एक्चुअली लाइक काफी सरप्राइजिंग था मुझे जब भी आदित्य चोपड़ा को लाइक ऑन स्क्रीन देखते हुए जस्ट पता चला कि लाइक हाउ लाइक लोग बोलते ना कि आई थिंक उसने एक इसमें ही बोला था कि मैं सभी फिल्म्स देखता हूँ जस्ट और बुरे फिल्म्स भी देखता हूँ जस्ट मैं समझता हूँ कि लोग कहाँ पे वो रिएक्ट कर रहे हैं बुरे फिल्म्स को लाइक बुरा फिल्म्स कैसे नहीं बनाना चाहिए वो समझने के लिए मैं बुरे फिल्म्स देखता हूँ वो सब इनसाइट्स पता चलते कि आदित्य चोपड़ा की कैसे वो हर बार फर्स्ट डे फर्स्ट शो अपने अपने खुद के फिल्म्स पे भी और इवन दूसरे फिल्म्स भी ऐसे देखने जाते रहते हैं, जस्ट समझने के लिए कि ऑडियंस क्या कैसी रिएक्ट कर रही है, अभी नई क्या कैसे चल रहा है, वो सब पता करने के लिए वो सब जाते रहते हैं। पता चलता है कि ओके अभी इस तरीके की फिल्म्स चल रही है, अभी इस तरीके की फिल्म्स को ऑडियंस ऐसे रिएक्ट कर रही है, और वो सब फिल्म्स को आदित्य चोपड़ा एज एन ऑडियंस मॉनिटर करते हैं, नॉट जस्ट एज अ क्रिटिक के प्रेस शो में जाके कैसे नहीं,
Yeah.
लेकिन एज अ जस्ट फर्स्ट डे फर्स्ट शो जाके। तो वो सब चीजें पता चलती है इस इंटरव्यू, अगर ये इंटरव्यू नहीं होता तो यार नहीं पता चलती कि उनका जो माइंडसेट है इतने 50 इतने सालों से, 50+ सालों से उन लोग ये सब कर रहे हैं, लाइक सच में यार। और मतलब वो सब पता चली इवन मुझे एक ये संतोष ने कमेंट किया, द बेस्ट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द शो वाज दैट इट प्रूव दैट उदय एंड आदि आर टू डिफरेंट पीपल। इवन डॉक्टर रणधीर ने भी बोला कि आदित्य चोपड़ा एग्जिस्ट। यस ओके।
He was pretty happy. He was pretty happy when he saw the episode, and he was like, he came on the group and he was like, "Yikes, Aditya Chopra is existing."
पर
So I
आई
think
थिंक ये एक चीज मुझे बहुत अच्छी से पता चली थी कि जस्ट हाउ क्लोज यश चोपड़ा और उदय चोपड़ा कितने कितने क्लोज बन गए थे एट द एंड ऑफ हिज लाइफ, की कैसे उन लोग दोनों जस्ट इतना क्लोज थे, और आदित्य चोपड़ा जस्ट काम बहुत था, तो फिर इतना काम फैमिली के टाइम से के साथ टाइम स्पेंड करने का हो नहीं रहा था। सो हाउ उन लोग दोनों की बॉन्डिंग कैसे ग्रो हुई, उन लोग दोनों जस्ट आदित्य चोपड़ा की बात में गॉसिप करते थे,
Yeah,
दिस।
there is enough human element
हाँ,
in the documentary. So yeah.
एब्सोल्युटली एब्सोल्युटली। इवन एक और एक चीज डॉक्टर ने पॉइंट
You know,
आउट की
all the
अभी।
people who are commenting, Sanket, please ask their favorite Yash Raj film to comment on the chat box.
एब्सोल्युटली, मैं डेफिनेटली यहाँ पे लिखूंगा। लेकिन यहाँ पे लिखा है डॉक्टर ने, द रोमांटिक्स वर्सेस सिनेमा मरते दम तक,
I was
I'm
एलियंस
just
a fan of Cinema
geography
Marte
वर्सेस।
Dam Tak.
about to come to this point. Actually, in fact, I'm glad Doc wrote it on the comment section. So I think Doc ne, he pointed it out, stating that cinema Marte Dam Tak and how the romantics are entirely two different things
Yeah.
in itself. And I totally agree with Doc. I think
We got to see two very different documentaries on, two very
yes,
different kinds of filmmaking. One so glamorous, so larger than life, so beautiful, and other which is like making a film in the lowest resources possible. So I loved Cinema Marte Dam Tak a lot. I even said Sanket that we should talk about that documentary too. Yeah.
I think in a way, what I feel Doc is, and of course everyone else is watching, is that we needed both. I mean, at the same time,
Yeah.
they came around the same time, both the
Yeah.
documentaries. It was entirely fulfilling for us to watch both. The reason probably why Doc or anyone else would relate much more to Cinema Mate Dam Tak is because that is something that they don't know.
Yeah.
While this is something that we know. We know
Yeah.
about a lot about Yash Chopra. There's a lot of access to information that we already know about the
True.
production house, the case, about the movies, about the stars. So I think there will be kind of a soft corner for Cinema Mate Dam Tak, but take nothing away. Cinema Mate Dam Tak
Hmm.
was probably as engrossing as it could
I
have been.
liked it more than the romantics, to be honest.
Yes,
I liked
exactly.
it more. It was a very moving documentary for me.
I just hate comparisons. I really didn't want to say that what Suhani just said, but I think now, even I'm thinking in hindsight, I might like Cinema Mate Dam Tak more than I like.
It was very wholesome. Although I really liked the romantics too for the nostalgia it brought and celebration of Yash Chopra, and we got to see what Aditya Chopra is capable of. So yeah, but I think there are many criticism about how they totally ignored the music aspect of यश राज फिल्म्स क्योंकि यश चोपड़ा की फिल्मों
आई थिंक मैं आपको
बेहतरीन गाने दिए हैं.
एक्चुअली ना, मैं ये यहाँ पे भूमिक ने क्वेश्चन किया था, क्वेश्चन एज इन जस्ट एक ओपिनियन रखा था यहाँ पे कि इसमें कैसे लोगों ने ज़्यादा बात नहीं की थी इस फ़िल्म लाइक यशराज के म्यूज़िक पे। मैं आई थिंक वो कमेंट ढूँढ रहा हूँ बॉमिक से, या दिस इज़ द कमेंट। As much as it was about Yashraj films, I wish there was some light thrown on the music of the Yashraj film, which are the huge asset.
I must tell you that it was Yash Chopra who kind of convinced Javed Akhtar to start writing lyrics for Hindi films.
Oh,
He was a
अच्छा।
poet and he was a screenplay writer. If I remember it correctly, I don't claim with confidence the correction of this fact, but I think it was Yash Chopra who convinced him to write for सिलसिला, if I'm not wrong. क्योंकि कभी कभी तक के गाने साहिर लुधियानवी ने लिखे हैं और भी बहुत अच्छे अच्छे लिरिसिस्ट ने लिखे हैं। सिलसिला से
Oh,
आई थिंक इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग वी कैन गूगल इट कि जावेद अख्तर ने सिलसिला के गाने लिखे हैं।
Sahir
बहुत
Luldhianvi also a great lyricist, जो जिन्होंने
ग्रेट पोएट या ग्रेट
प्यासा के
शायर।
गाने लिखे थे, बहुत सारे गाने लिखे थे।
I think क्योंकि म्यूजिक की बात हो रही है, so Suhani, what would be your favorite? I'm just pick one. What would be your
Oh my
favorite?
god, it's very difficult.
Pick one.
Very
Because
difficult.
I already have
Very
one.
difficult. I love all the 90s music of Shiv Hari. He brought, the very celebrated classical duo of Shiv Hari, शिव शर्मा एंड हरि प्रसाद चौरसिया पंडित्स। तो उन्होंने जो म्यूजिक दिया, इवन उनकी बहुत ही एवरेज फिल्म, अगर आप परंपरा को देखें तो परंपरा के गाने इतने खूबसूरत हैं। अगेन शिव हरि का म्यूजिक, एंड इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग शायद चांदनी और डर का भी म्यूजिक एंड लम्हे का भी म्यूजिक शिव हरि का ही है। और सारी यार, इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू पिक, बट आई विल पिक वीर ज़ारा।
Oh,
आई विल पिक
oh.
ज़ारा।
So that was my answer, in fact, Suhani.
Yeah.
Really
The
good pick.
way Sanjeev Kohli revived the old compositions of Madan Mohan, it's timeless.
And
अच्छा।
the poetry at the beginning recited by
Yeah.
late Yashoka himself, right? I mean, it's one of the best poetries. I mean, it's something that stays with you. In fact, the last climax में जो वो poetry Shahrukh's character reads out
Yeah.
in the courtroom, I think it's the movie was a syllable for me. I mean, it was simply Veer Zara has to be the
It's
one of
Yash Chopra at its best. The way
exactly.
he seed romance and love, the way the way he used to see romance and love, the way he perceived. I think Veer Zara, others may find it very impractical now, but we won't get such love stories anymore.
So
क्योंकि वो
just because you
उस तरह
mentioned
से देखने वाले लोग ही नहीं रहे। Only Yash Chopra could do that.
because you mentioned Shivari, I think Sonia, I really have to say that "Lagi Aaj Sawan Ki Fir Wo Jhadi Hai" is one of my favorite songs. I mean, till
Oh,
date, मेरे
how
phone में
nice.
बजना है वो गाना.
Hmm.
Yes, I'm a
I
Shivari.
think
That
uh,
amazing.
uh, ओके, सो ये क्वेश्चन था लाइक कैसे जस्ट एक सेंटेंस था आशिका, दैट इंट्रो जन्म देखो
Okay. I live
देख
for
लो।
Janam Dekh Lo Mit Gayi Duriyan. Remove it from my life and my existence will dwindle.
बाप रे, वाह। एक
So,
लाइक ऐसा एक ओपिनियन था डॉक्टर का, सो दीवार इज माय फेवरेट यश चोपड़ा मूवी, परफेक्ट मेटाफर ऑफ द 70s इकोनॉमिकली सप्रेस्ड इंडिया, टोन बिटवीन विजय's angst and his resultant ruthless ambition and Ravi's idealism, डेफिनेटली। और उसमें बात भी तो
definitely.
की थी कि लाइक वो टाइम्स के बारे में ये सब था, इसलिए फिर जाके वो एंग्री यंग मैन वो सब पैदा होने लगा था। और आई थिंक
Devar is the final stamp of angry young man image on Amitabh Bachchan's career. It is
Started with
like the
selfie.
final stamp, yeah.
ओके, एक और यहाँ पे एक ओपिनियन था मोनिका का। डिड यू गाइस रियलाइज रणवीर सिंह गॉट मेनी चांसेस टू प्रूव हिमसेल्फ, आदि डिडंट अप्रूव ऑफ हिम बट शानो केप्ट पुशिंग, दैट्स सम लक, how many of the aspiring actors have such amazing stroke of luck?
Do we
It's
need
a
to
very
discuss
different,
thing being
very
outside?
different topic, very controversial, yeah.
Yes,
Very.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think Ranveer Singh is
Apparently, Monica Shanu spotted Ranveer and Arjun in a party, and they were dancing to the tunes of Dina Din Dha. This is the story. We don't know what's the how much is truth in that, and we don't know. But yeah, but I'm glad that they chose Ranveer Singh. I'm a Ranveer Singh fan, and um, however it worked, I'm glad that Ranveer Singh came into the industry, and so this understanding of Aditya Chopra of picking actors that he can see through कि हाँ अगर दम लगा के हाइशा बन रही है, so we can cast Bhumi Pednekar. The way he can spot the talent is also one of the skills, and he gave quite a good younger talent, not bad. Yeah. Ranveer, Anushka, Bhumi.
अच्छा,
Yeah.
एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन था आप सभी से, लाइक आप दोनों से। संतोष का था बहुत, लाइक बोल रहा था कि ये क्वेश्चन पूछना है। अरे बेस्ट फिल्म, बेस्ट वायर एफ फिल्म सिंस 1990 आप लोग की। मेरे लिए तो आई थिंक टाई है, मैं बोलूंगा। अगर शुरुआत करना चाहूंगा तो मेरे लिए एक 3-वे टाई है, मैं बोलूंगा। दम लगा के हैशा, चक दे इंडिया, एंड द थर्ड वन वुड बी ये काबुल एक्सप्रेस।
Oh.
जस्ट अमेजिंग।
It's very difficult क्योंकि उसमें भी बात नहीं हुई है सीरीज में, लेकिन यशराज ने बहुत ही एक्सपेरिमेंटल सिनेमा को भी बैकअप किया है। जब थोड़ा
इवन
वो
तितली,
डिबेट हो रहे थे, तितली,
इवन
देयर इज नो मेंशन। यू कांट इवन इमेजिन कि तितली जैसी फिल्म यशराज बैक करेगा, बट दे डिड।
और
एंड
इवन ब्योमकेश बख्शी जैसी फिल्म भी
Vyomkesh,
बोलो।
there is many.
Every
I
time I
think
have an answer, Suhani and Sanket have already discussed it.
so. My
नहीं नहीं,
my favorite pick since 90s would be, if I have to choose one, I'll choose Chak De India.
वाओ।
Hmm.
बिस्वा।
I really wanted to say talk about Italy a lot, but again, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, it's about being honest. My favorite Yashraj film post 1990 has to be DDLJ, and the reason is pretty simple. I mean, DDLJ is something. It's a movie. It's more of a nostalgia. It's something that you know gave a lot of definition to love in my life. I mean, this is something that was new to me at that point of time. It was new to the larger section of the audience. I mean, it's something that it was a coming of an age thing for most of us. और उस हिसाब से अगर मैं देखूं, and DDLJ is something that is still running in theaters in some shows.
Yeah.
That there are
मराठा मंदिर में।
right? There are re-releases. I still go and watch them. I think Shah Rukh ke birthday release was. I took my wife and I went, and both of us enjoyed it so much. I think if I really like a movie, if there's a movie that I can enjoy with my wife, with my family, with my kids, this has to be one of the most one of my favorite movies. And DDLJ is something that I would cherish for a long time. It has to be the perfect balance of everything, and I think this movie is what Yash Raj film stood for. So I think
Yeah,
DDLJ.
no denying. Talking about DDLJ, Sanket and Biswa, I would really like to recommend a documentary which I watched in New York International Indian Film Festival here. So there was a film student from London Film School. Probably it was her like semester project or something like that, and she made it she got it funded from the school itself. It's called Still Rolling, DDLJ story, and it's about that how DDLJ is still running, and it is still very much alive in the conscious of Indian Indian people, Indian film lovers, and how it has what should I say, what kind of iconic impact it has had in changing India globally. Not only about in terms of cinema, but how we went abroad, we conquered kind of Switzerland, and how the what should I say, the travel and tour industry of Switzerland got revived, and how generations of people are still loving the film. The people who went as a kid are now taking their kids to the film. So it's a very sweet documentary, and it's you can say that it's not glorified. It's just a celebration of love which Indian audiences have for DDLs. It's a beautiful documentary. I think half an hour. Still Rolling by Natasha Rathor, and it's on Vimeo, so you guys can check it.
I think
अच्छा।
I was in Switzerland a couple of years back. Uh, I remember I was on Titlis, and there's this cardboard cutout of Shah Rukh and Kajol standing
Yeah.
some pose of KDSA. And there were a couple of Chinese ladies who wanted me to, click a pic for them. And the moment I clicked it, and they gave me a pen and asked me to spell Shah Rukh's name on the hand because they were getting it wrong every time somebody asked them who this guy is. Right? And
Oh.
that's the level of faith that the movie has. And yeah, even though purists would like to believe otherwise, I think
Yeah, even the politics aside, people may diss it for its some regressive representation, but I still think it was a product of its time and all. But no denying that the kind of impact it has in our films and the audiences.
So
I'm purely
there are I think there are two, like I think सुहानी ने अभी जैसे बोला था, like उन्होंने पूछा कि like comments में जो बता सकते हैं कि उनके फेवरेट यशराज फिल्म्स कौन से थे. आशी और डॉक्टर ने यहाँ पर रिप्लाई दिया है. आशी के फेवरेट फिल्म्स है लम्हे, DDLJ एंड चक दे.
Nice.
ओके. और डॉक्टर के का एक फेवरेट है धूम 2 बेस्ट ये YRF film since 1990. ऋतिक गॉड इज ग्रीक गॉड टाइटल फ्रॉम दिस मूवी. Okay, Greek god title मुझे भी नहीं पता. Okay.
He even played a Greek god in the film.
Yeah, he did. But the scenes
Yeah.
like this.
So yeah, guys, thank you so much for having like coming here on this podcast. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. बहुत अच्छा लगा कि आप लोग आए और इस डॉक्यूमेंट्री पे बात की. और ऑल्सो थैंक यू टू आशी, डॉक्टर, लाइक संतोष एंड अदर गाइज एज वेल. लाइक उन लोग हर बार इस लाइक पहली बार तो इस यहाँ पे डिस्कशन में कमेंट्स में भाग लेके लाइक यहाँ पे देख रहे थे. इवन सुहानी भी हैरान हो गए थे, लेकिन यार मजा आया उन लोग के साथ
Thank you
भी.
guys. Thank you अपना इतना वक्त हमें देने के लिए. Everyone,
Absolutely.
Doctor, Darshan, Kayo, Ashi,
दर्शील,
Santosh,
इवन दर्शील लाइक
Darshil,
उसने भी एक
Bhomik, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Also, thank you so much, and hopefully
Monica,
the
yeah.
next video में ऐसी ही बातें करते रहेंगे. So thank you guys. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having us.
Thanks for having us, Sanket.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.